Let's admit it. Too many investors get stuck. They get stuck overanalyzing, they get stuck in fear, stuck waiting for the perfect moment to do something just right. But what about the opportunity? Do you lose it because you're trying to get it so perfect? Well, today I'm talking with Sarah Foley, and she's also known as the Vertical Blonde, that talks about her life-changing accident that actually got her from that to living unstoppable. Her story will be the mindset shift that you need to be able to get moving again. So tune in. Hello, my fellow Ripplers. This is Chris Miles, your cash flow expert and anti-financial advisor. This show is for you if you want to become work optional, where you have enough passive income to work because you want to, not because you have to, because you want your money to work harder for you, so you don't have to work so hard for that money. And guys, I know you're not just here to get rich, but you want to live a rich life, because as you have greater financial means and capacity and you have more passive income and more wealth and freedom, you also have the ability to bless the lives of those around you, creating a ripple effect. And that is what it means to be a Rippler. So thank you for tuning in. Some of you guys have been faithful listeners, Ripplers, watchers, viewers. Yeah, watchers sounds creepy. You're viewers, right? It's been so awesome having you guys been following us for now the last 11 years. I'm so excited we're almost at 1,000 episodes, and that's all because of you. So thank you for doing so. If you get any value from this show, don't just like and subscribe, because I know you guys are doing that already, but also join us. Be sure to actually follow us or even share this podcast with somebody else. All right, guys. So as I mentioned, we have Sarah Foley joining us today, also known as the Vertical Blonde, which we invite you to follow on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you might do that. But she's recently been named one of the top 5 female speakers igniting humanity in USA Today. She went from this life-altering accident we'll talk about to becoming unstoppable. Even now, she's become a Tony Robbins coach. She's been on the Tony Robbins Podcast as well as the Mel Robbins Show. Her story is one of just absolute resilience and possibility. But what I'm so excited about today is really talk about how it comes back to you, right? Is that right now, I've talked about this in other episodes, that courage to be able to be willing to do something different, that courage to be willing to stand out, even though it might make you feel like you're the only one in doing what we're talking about doing, right? It's like the only person that might actually be taking action when everybody else is frozen and stuck in fear, yet you are courageous. And I know that Sarah embodies this completely. So excited to have her on with us today. So Sarah, welcome to our show.
Thank you so much. Love the intro. I know I'm in the right place. This is my kind of people here.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So Sarah, give us more about your background, because you were a TV host at one point, apparently, a 5-star spa owner. I mean, tell us, like, just your life sounds like completely incredible from like all different directions. So tell us more about you.
Thank you. Well, it's funny. I feel like I've lived a few very different lives and different chapters, eras, if you want to get on brand with Taylor Swift there. But yeah, my entire life, I wanted to end up on MTV News. That was as I was growing up. I just felt really called to that. Ended up going out to Palm
Oh yeah.
Springs, landing a great position out there as a new part of a new television show as their lead host. And the great thing about that, and the reason why it's really relevant today, is that it was a brand new show. And so I ended up doing everything. I was selling the TV segments, I was marketing it, I was going in the community and building up the network and building up the buzz around the show. I was writing my own script. Sometimes I was my own cameraman, did my own hair and makeup. I mean, everything A to Z as the show grew. And so all of that really set me up for what I do today. But I noticed every time I was doing an interview, I felt like I was always putting the microphone in the wrong direction. Like I had all these great people
Huh.
I was interviewing and they had all these amazing stories. And yet I felt kind of this inner pull that I was made for more. And,
Hmm.
life takes different twists and turns. I ended up making a big shift out of television and getting back into the spa industry. I was doing massage therapy to pay the bills while I was building up that TV career. So spa was always kind of in the background. Ended up getting out of Palm Springs up to Park City. Became the director up at Canyons Resort and ran that spa for about 7 years. And learned everything on how to run a business, from doing your P&L to managing a group and a team of up to 45 people, running an entire department, even kind of overseeing everything from a major remodel we did. I really kind of made a name for myself there. Both of those, why I think they're really interesting, is that they both involved a big identity shift, right? You
Mm.
become this television host and everything that it embodies. Then I became a spa director and everything that it embodies, dressing differently, holding yourself differently, poising yourself differently, presenting yourself differently, and really started to kind of understand what that meant for the overall success of whatever I was building, whether it was the TV
Mhm.
show or the spa. Now, during the time of running the spa, I ended up getting into an ATV accident, which is really where life got quite interesting. I will say so myself. Went off of a trail, just a easy breezy ride, hit a ditch, went flipping through the air, and broke my back, paralyzing me instantly. And talk about an identity shift. I think we go through these things in life, and you're in the midst of it and just screaming up at God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, and just saying, why? Like, why on earth? I felt like I was on top of the world when this happened. Actually, the morning of the accident, I literally said out loud to my boyfriend at the time, I just said, my life's so perfect right now. And 4 hours
Mm.
later, I was upside down in a ditch under the weight of this four-wheeler. And
Wow.
there was another identity shift. And I now thought, well, I'm disabled. And what does that come with? Well, for me, I didn't paint a very pretty picture. It was unhealthy and unsuccessful and unattractive and unhappy. And I called it all the uns of life. And now disability and disabled began to take root as an identity. And all of this kind of just now backing up and seeing in retrospect, it's so clear. But at the time, it was quite debilitating. And about 4 years after I got injured, we ended up moving to Maui. Just long story short, we'll just say, I know we don't have a ton of time. And it was there where I began to just open myself up to healing. And I think there is a very conscious and beautiful thing that happens when you say, I'm ready to
Mm.
meet the people I need to meet. I'm ready to heal. I'm ready to experience this differently. And life gives you what you're ready for. Life doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you're ready for. And through
Yeah.
all of that, I began to understand that my words had a lot of power. And I didn't like that I was becoming more and more disabled. I didn't like this person I was meeting in the mirror. And I came up with this silly little name for myself, Vertical Blonde. And I started to ask myself, well, what would Vertical Blonde do? How would she show up
Mhm.
right now? How would she treat her body? What would she wear? How would she speak? How would she sit in her chair? And I began to make different decisions based on the part of me that I was calling as sort of in the driver's seat, taking on now a new identity of who Vertical Blonde was and meant for my life. And all of that began to transpire and became this gorgeous unearthing of, I think, who I really truly am at my core. Now, what's beautiful is I bring all my television experience, I bring all of my spa and business owner experience, and I package them all together now with what I really live by, which is the Hawaiian word of Kuleana. And our Kuleana is, they teach it as your God given responsibility to fulfill your greatest potential for yourself first, so it can trickle over to others and we can change the world. And a lot of people want to start
Sounds like a
backwards.
ripple
They want to
effect.
change the world. It is. It is. That's why you said that. And I literally wrote it down as you were doing the intro and just circled it. And I was like, it's so on par. And yet a lot of people want to start by changing the world before they really change what's going on inside. So it's
Right.
it's an guiding principle for me for sure. So there's the
That's
mouthful, but it
fantastic.
kind of catches people up a little bit.
No, for sure. That's a fantastic story. What tell me, where did the name Vertical Blonde? I mean, how did that inspire you? Like, where did that even come from? 'Cause I mean, you kind of mentioned the
Yeah.
story,
So
but I think it's kind of fascinating.
it is a fascinating one. So at that point, the only thing I really knew around personal development was that my words had power. And at this point, when I
Mm,
created Vertical Blonde, which was like 2017, I was just writing little stories and wanted to kind of create a blog. I was like, well, I need to name it something. Instinctually, I knew I couldn't use my own name. It needed to be something very specific and new and something with intention. And so at that point, I really was so committed to walking again, healing my body, being able to stand. So I just started playing with all these different ways that I could, I was like soaring Sarah and like running goddess and like just playing with all these different
mhm,
words. And I even went onto Facebook and I was like, okay, everyone help me out. And the word vertical came up. And I just remember sitting up in my chair and just thinking, it's kind of a sexy word. I like this word vertical.
mhm,
Like it felt different. It felt like an alignment in my body. It felt like just something kind of from the ground up, really rooted yet dreamy. It just felt so right. And then blonde is pretty obvious. I've been bleaching my hair since I was 12 years old. So I'm surprised it's still in there, but vertical blonde. And as soon as I landed on it, I just instinctually knew. And so that's a big, huge part of what I do with my clients today is we get really intentional of what I call their iconic identity. And it's you and your fullest potential. What are you going to name it? What does it represent? What are the attributes of it? And we go through all these different
mhm,
exercises to craft it because I don't think people realize how in control of who we are versus who we think we are. Like it is intentional.
mhm.
And what is the old saying? What you're not changing, you're choosing. And so I just decided to get really intentional with it. But Vertical Blonde, it was just kind of a cutesy name. And now it is the core of everything I teach and preach.
Yeah. I know when I've kind of told you before, I was like your fanboy, even before I had you on this podcast, right? Because I was following you on social media and stuff, and I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, how you exude it is incredible, right? I mean, do you ever
Thank
have
you.
those off days? I mean, I'm sure people ask you that, like, does Sarah ever have those off days where you don't quite feel as vertical as every day?
I mean, such is life, right?
Hmm.
But it has become such a hard-grained practice for me that when I do get into those places, see, now here's I think the differentiator. I'm not a toxic positivity person. I'm not always positive, but I do journey through things
Yeah.
as my vertical self. And so I
Mm,
believe our emotions that what is not expressed gets depressed and that's where pressure is built within us. And so I think working through emotions, I think tears are the most beautiful thing on the planet. I think all of that is so vital. And so my off days are not so off. They're still intentional. They're just being very
mhm.
present with what's coming up. I had a gorgeous therapist that just really taught me all of this. I went to her for about 4 years straight, never missed a Friday. And she did a lot of parts work with me. And so every time I would come into her office, she would literally have me put my hand on my belly and she'd just say, what part of you needs you right now? What part needs to be tended to? What part needs to be expressed? And I just got really, really used to checking in. I got really in tune with my gut. I got really in tune with that intuition and that like deep inner knowing. And I believe that when I lead from that place versus my head, that's when the exuding happens. That's when radiance happens. And so I really appreciate you even saying that because I worked tooth and nail to get to this place. I worked really hard. And a lot of people now know me, publicly in this place, and they think it's easy and all the things. And they weren't there through the 5, 6, 7 years where it was just gut wrenching every day, working through those emotions. And going back to Kuleana, I did it for myself first. There was no intention to change the world yet. I just had to really tend to what was going on inside of me.
If you've been following this podcast, you're probably looking for great ways to create passive income right now, right? Well, we got you covered here with Central Lending. Central Lending specializes in alternative investments that actually are designed to create steady returns and long term financial security for you and your family. Now they prioritize transparency. They love, building those strong relationships, giving you that confidence and peace of mind, knowing that you have your money working harder for you, so you don't have to work so hard for that money. You want to learn more how to do that? Go to centrallending.com and check out what they've got today to create your passive income and wealth creation right now. Right. I think that's important to know. It's like the people that see sports players and they think, oh, you make it look so easy, but they haven't seen the tens of thousands of hours of practice going in to make it look that way, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I realize sometimes I do make it look easy. I have to remind my son all the time. I say, "This is actually hard for me, child," like,
Mhm.
because that's just mom. She makes it look easy, but,
Mhm.
he doesn't remember the early days.
For sure. I mean, would you say you kind of mentioned like a lot of times you had to go into your body, right? You had to kind of figure out
Right.
what's needed, when you go inside. Do you think a lot of people get stuck in their head and that's one of the bigger
Yeah.
problems?
It's the problem. It is
Mm.
absolutely the problem, and I think that, because I teach a lot of public speaking and I share your story, and that is the hardest part to get to people because they get all up in their head, not only what to say, but I think the reason why public speaking is actually so hard for people, I think this is what I've come to the conclusion anyways, is that immediately you go to public speak and your brain says, "What can I say that's going to appease the entire room?" And so you're up against immediately the impossibility, right? It's not
Yeah.
possible to come up with the one thing that's going to appease the room. So I train myself, I train my clients, no, you get in your body and you appease yourself. And you speak
Mhm.
from that place that you are, I call it the living proof. You're making a commitment that anytime you speak, you're only speaking of that which you are living the results of. And if you're not living the
Mhm.
results of, you don't have any business speaking it. And so then
So
it can come
true.
up, it's so authentic, it's so real. You're speaking soul to people. And wouldn't you agree that even if you don't necessarily agree with what someone's saying, the fact that they are so rooted in their own belief, you have a respect for them?
Mhm.
Like
For sure.
those speakers I love to hear. Even if what they're saying, I'm like, that's not so much for me, but I really respect the fact that it's for them and they're speaking from their gut.
Yeah. And one thing I say on the show a lot of times, if you want to find the best mentor or person to follow, it's someone who's been there, done that, and they're still doing it today, right? You have to have that alignment. Otherwise, you're going to be led by blind guides.
Totally. And I think we can feel it right away. I think we get those gut feelings
Mhm.
and we like to make logic of things, right? Like, oh, someone referred it. I guess that's the right coach or whatever it is, but your
Yeah.
gut's like it's not really for me. And so, I think that I speak from a public speaking place, but I think all of life really is a stage, right? That we're constantly showing up. It's our presence. And so when people are feeling stuck, it's because they are trying to appease the old story. They're trying to make logic of it. All the stuff's up in their head.
Mhm.
And so if they can actually just quiet themselves for a moment and get to a place where they're feeling so lit up from the inside out.
Mhm.
Because it- we otherwise, it just becomes there's too much pressure, right? We try so hard to like put on the face and like do all the things, and then it just creates more and more pressure. But if you're
Mhm.
doing it from the inside out and you're just following like, what does my gut need? What does my body need? Like, what do I need to feel most alive? And then you're in just full alignment.
Yeah.
I know that I need physical fitness. I need dance. I need spaces where I am so free to cry and let my emotions out. I need those spaces because I feel cleansed, I feel radiant, I feel like I'm actually able to exude it from the inside out versus trying to put on this face.
Mhm.
And we just notice that in people. We're drawn to them. It's magnetic. We're just like we don't know what it is about someone, but we need to be in their presence and not someone that is fully lit up from the inside out.
Yeah. Well, I know some people are probably asking, like, well, what does this all have to do with investing, right? And passive income and money and everything else. But as you and I have talked even before we went on the air, there seems like there's a lot of stuck energy. A lot of people are just kind of frozen. They're waiting for something, right?
Yeah.
What do you think is really like causing that? And how can someone break free of that that freeze that they're in?
So again, I think it's just we get up in our head and we're trying to make logic of what's going on,
Uh-huh.
right? And then when we don't necessarily know what to do, we look around at what everyone else is doing, and everyone else right now is freezing. And
Right.
so instead, if you can go into your own iconic identity and ask yourself, like, because it's nothing has meaning until we give it meaning.
Mm,
That's what I've come to conclusion, right? So something happens, right? Investment goes bad, whatever it is, quote unquote bad. Investment goes in the negative. Now it's totally up to us what we're going to do with it,
mhm,
right? And so we get to make that decision of what this means for me and who am I going to go be through it. And so if I go back to my iconic identity, vertical blonde, she's assertive. She leads with her gut. She leads with her heart. She knows that Kuleana is a guiding light. She's got to be done with, lit up with inner radiance. She's living ready for opportunity. Now it does not even matter what's in front of me. I'm going to go at it and I'm going to see it completely differently. So I teach this principle of live ready. And so this I think is how it can really apply to your people, that if I'm living in anticipation that every day holds great opportunity, not to be found, but to be created.
mm,
And there's a big difference there, that if I'm going out and I'm saying opportunities here and I'm looking for it, instead of no, I'm showing up with my own iconic self. I'm showing up in my full lit up, radiant, I'm ready. I do not leave my bedroom and my bathroom until I'm ready for the day. I am
mm,
dressed, I am prepped, I am in my right energy. I work out, I do everything I need to in the morning. It's not some crazy morning routine. I'm a simple girl. Like, give me a workout, give me some hair and makeup. I'm ready to start the day.
mhm,
And now, anywhere I go, I'm ready I'm ready to have opportunity conversations. I'm introducing myself when I get the nudge in my gut that that could be someone I could do business with, or I'm feeding into just alignment of energy. I'm seeing things and I'm saying, if today is the day, as in every day, if today is the day for a great opportunity to be created, you almost become like a little detective,
mm.
but you're doing so with the energy of readiness.
Yeah.
And to what I said in the beginning, we don't get what we want, we get what we are ready for.
Mm.
And so
Love that.
those that are actually going to be taking action when everyone else is freezing, not only are they going to harness some opportunities that others wouldn't even see, they're going to create some momentum and they're probably going to create more of a following and more of a community because like attracts like. So the
Mhm.
ones that are moving are banding together and they know that they're going to be a lot stronger when they're not on their own.
Right. It goes along with that, the whole that the 5 people you spend the most time with is who you become most like, right? Even money earning, it's even like just like you said, even actions, right? Like, are you going to be stuck or are you going to be moving? And there's definitely a different group, a different community, but you have to be there first. You can't just expect to try to find those people, right? As you said, like it's not about finding, it's about creating within first. Then you go out and those people are naturally, you're drawn to them and they're drawn to you.
It's magnetic. It
Yeah.
is absolutely magnetic. And I just think the readiness is, uh, it's just something that people, they don't put enough intention around, and the creation and just who do I want to be in this phase of my life? And I think that a lot of times we think that we are who we are in the past. And I'm proof of that. I look back at the girl in my 20s and I'm just like, who was she? She is so different. Yeah, I'm taking the wisdom that I gained from it as well.
Yeah.
And we learn from it, and everybody makes mistakes. But we really do. My great therapist used to say, only we can heal ourselves, but we cannot do it alone.
That's right.
Only we can make, an opportunity, but we cannot do it alone. You can fill in the blank any way you want. But it's not going to be on our own. And it's absolutely going to be with the energy that we meet it with, because all energy has momentum. Stuck
Mhm.
energy has momentum. Laziness has momentum. Achievements have momentum. When you get a pop of achievement, you're ready for the next. But it's like that first little hurdle to get out of that stuckness where things actually start to have momentum. And I'll seed this because I'm excited to speak more at the mastermind next week or in a couple weeks.
Mhm.
But when I was on the Mel Robbins show, she called me out and she said, you are still in that ditch. And I very, very
Mm.
much was. She called me out on it. And that changed everything when I was just like given the mirror of, you're doing this to yourself. You are stuck, and it is up to no one else but you to get yourself out of that.
Wow. I love that. It's kind of reminds me of Newton's laws, right? An object at rest will remain at rest, and an object in motion will also remain in motion, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, Sarah, what's the best way that people can follow you?
Vertical Blonde on all platforms. So verticalblonde.com, Instagram is my favorite. Send me a DM. I love getting DMs with people telling me what their new iconic identity name is. That's always a fun conversation. Just put some thought into it, and I'll say this, some people are just like, Sarah, that's the silliest thing I've ever heard. Like, are you kidding me? I'm not going to come up with a name for myself. And yet the ones that do are the ones that have a lot of momentum, the ones that actually dive in, because not everyone is going to be exceptional. Not everyone is going to actually take the action to get moving. And the ones that do the things that are a little bit out of the ordinary are the ones that get to claim the prize at the end. So you
Right.
might as well go all in. And I believe that having fun is the best energy, best kind of momentum, and makes you the most magnetic. So might as well have fun with it.
I
But
love
vertical
it.
blonde everywhere.
That's perfect. Yeah, ordinary results don't come, or ordinary doesn't create extraordinary results, right? Something that's extraordinary that creates extraordinary.
Absolutely. Or I say iconic.
Iconic. That's right. Well, guys, definitely make sure you follow Sarah on there, and we'll have that all the links and everything in the show notes here. Last question for you, Sarah. Obviously, you've been kind of alluding to it anyways, but what do you feel is the ripple effect you're here to create?
My own Kuleana, right? Like it really does begin with me. And I believe it's about presence. It's about that there is an intention and a choice that we all have, and that the present is the only time we have. I was fortunate enough to be given a round two in this life. Most people just get a round one, but I got a round two. I got a wake up call. And I just want to urge everyone, don't wait to the point where you feel like it's either the end or around two to wake up, to enjoy your life, to start radiating from the inside out. It's a lot more fun when you are just following your own gut. And I believe that's my own Kuleana, that people say, how did you do it? Well, I began with just tuning into myself. And that is how we have the biggest effect.
I love it. That's perfect. Well, you're definitely creating that ripple effect in people's lives, that Juliana. Thank you so much for living it and embodying that as well.
I appreciate it. Thank you for this opportunity as well.
So everybody, yeah, be sure to follow Sarah. And of course, as we just talked about, you can be listening to this stuff all day long, but what are you going to do with this, right? How are you going to take action? Don't just be a hearer of the word, be a doer as well. So go and make it a wonderful and prosperous week. We'll see you later.